I will yield to Mr. Yatin just to give 2 minutes of his reflections. Thanks, and over to you, Mr. Yatin.
Thank you, Program Director, ladies and gentlemen, and the members of civil society. I think we really appreciate the time that you've spent with us and the extensive comments and questions that you've posed to us. So, Chair, I think there are two things that's important that I'm taking from those two or those three inputs. I think, firstly, transparency matter. That's consistent with the constitutional requirements. Secondly, our municipalities are really grappling with collecting their revenue, despite the fact that they've got extensive tax powers, unlike provincial government, and Silo has made that point. Thirdly, you can see from the grant presentation, colleagues, that our municipalities do not necessarily spend the grants productively and in terms of the intended objective or intent as per the Annual Division of Revenue Act. And each and every grant have a grant framework that essentially indicate what is the intent and what that grant is supposed to buy. And I think it's important for the colleagues who are with us to familiarize themselves not only with what we host on our website, but also the Annual Division of Revenue Act. It's a critical redistribution tool that we use to allocate resources from the rich to the poor and therefore compensate those smaller municipalities that do not have an adequate revenue base. The second takeaway, Chair, is I could see that from the responses, there's many of the members and the colleagues that have joined us. So I hope that we haven't created the impression that everything is going well. That's certainly not the intention. Our municipalities have massive challenges. So if you read all our reports, and remember we publish the budgets of municipalities once a year, we quarterly publish the financial and conditional grant results, and we do produce these the State of Local Government report. And in all those reports, it's very clear that our municipalities are struggling. Now, when we are confronted in Parliament of what is the Treasury doing, I think it's important to understand the constitutional mandate of the National Treasury, and essentially it's emanating from Section 215 and 2162. So the Treasury sets Treasury norms and standards when it comes to financial management. And the three key pieces of legislation that facilitate that is the Public Finance Management Act, the Municipal Finance Management Act, and then the Annual Division of Revenue Act. Now, the fact that we have a monitoring and oversight responsibility, and we've put in all these measures to track the performance of local government, and remember, this is a long, painful journey. So what we share with you today took essentially a good part of 17 to 20 years to put in place. So we need to get to the point where municipalities use this information properly and productively, both on the administrative side as well as politically. The point that we do make in Parliament, colleagues, is that National Treasury do not manage a municipality. Myself and my team, we are not responsible for the decisions. So when it comes to accountability, it starts and stops with the council. That's how the legislative framework and the Constitution has been designed. So we have a monitoring and oversight responsibility, and the Section 71 report and that slide that Manla showed on the early warning system, all of that is critical tools to make sure that if we spot that there's a challenge, that something gets done immediately. So I think from accountability perspective, it's important to understand the roles and the responsibilities. Obviously, we work very closely with provincial treasuries. As a treasury, we oversee the work of provincial treasuries and provide strategic direction and support. So, Chair, my takeaway is that I think there's no doubt that we have challenges, and somebody have posted the white paper that COGTA is overseeing to review the system of local government. I think it's a critical initiative that the public should follow. So, Chair, let me stop there. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
What practical advice can you give to them to enable them to report local government financial irregularities? I'm not sure if it makes sense, Mr. Hattin. Let me yield to you.
Thanks, Program Director. Thanks for the question. There's a number of options in this regard. So, firstly, the information can be reported obviously to the National Treasury or the Provincial Treasury. It can be reported to the Office of the Auditor General. It can be reported to the Public Protector. What we normally advise, if there's something like that, or something that you anticipate or suspect that there's behavior that's not in line with legislation, you're welcome to send it to the National Treasury. We have the MFMA helpline. So if you go to the MFMA website, you will see the MFMA helpline. So I'm saying there's a number of options, but feel free to bring it to our attention. And in some cases, we have also advised colleagues that they can write to the Minister of Finance or to the Minister of COGTA, or both of them, to bring it to their attention. And then we have an obligation in terms of legislation to investigate. We sometimes initiate the investigations. Sometimes the municipality must initiate the investigation. But if you do observe any of those, feel free to share that with us. Thanks, Program Director.